Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. Are the episodes new tonight? Welcome to another One Chicago Wednesday, but the inevitable question from fans is whether or not the episodes are new. NBC presented new episodes of Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD on April 2. It was an exciting night, and we saw Jack Damon return to Chicago Fire. Actor Michael Bradway plays Damon, the younger brother of Kelly Severide, Taylor Kinney. Chicago PD fans saw Natalie Lynes return as Val Soto. She plays the girlfriend of Officer Kevin Atwater, LaRoyce Hawkins. Are the One Chicago shows new on April 9? The April 9 One Chicago episodes are all repeats. NBC airs older content on Wednesday night as the shows take a quick break. We have a short wait for new episodes. New content is scheduled for Wednesday, April 16. Below is information about what fans will see on April 9. Halloween chaos takes over the ED. Hannah helps a pregnant woman with an autistic son. Charles clashes with Nurse Jackie on a psych case. Reads the synopsis for the Chicago Med episode on April 9. It's called Bad Habits. Kid and Severide investigate a trucking company responsible for a string of accidents. Herman recruits Kelly to help get new radios. Firehouse 51 celebrates Violet's birthday. Carver's allegiances are torn. Reads the April 9 Chicago Fire synopsis. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole. In the midst of a momentous rainstorm, intelligence lends support to Officer Cook when she and her partner disagreed about an investigation, is the full Chicago PD synopsis for April 9. It's called Water and Honey. More news from the One Chicago shows. Chicago Fire spoilers reveal details on Bowden's return. Eamon Walker played Chief Wallace Bowden for the first 12 years of the show. He left during the season 12 finale to take a promotion within the Chicago Fire Department. Spoilers about the season finale of Chicago Med were revealed. The showrunner has teased some returning faces in a season-ending episode that fans should not miss. Get ready for some surprises. Chicago PD Season 12 has wrapped. The cast and crew finished filming the season finale and had a big party. Images from that party were shared online. Actress Amy Morton recently celebrated her birthday. She plays Trudy Platt on the Chicago PD cast. She is also routinely seen on Chicago Fire since she is Mouch's wife. Previous episodes of Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD are streaming on Peacock. The night sky was thick with smoke, the glow of the flames casting eerie shadows across the streets of Chicago. Engine 51 was already on site, the team working furiously to control the inferno that had engulfed a local warehouse. It was supposed to be a routine call, nothing out of the ordinary, but in Chicago, nothing was ever routine for the Firehouse 51 crew. Casey was shouting orders as he tried to maintain the chaotic rhythm of the fire. The sirens still screamed from the block over, but it wasn't the sound of the fire trucks he heard now. It was the unmistakable rush of heavy boots. The unmistakable approach of Chicago PD. Detective Hank Voight led the charge, his jaws set and eyes scanning the scene. A fire was just the tip of the iceberg. The city had more than its fair share of arson, but this one felt different. He could feel it in his gut. And when he saw Matt Casey, he didn't need to ask twice. "What do we have, Casey?" Voight asked, his voice as rough as ever. "Intense heat, more than it should be for a warehouse fire," Casey replied, adjusting his gear. "No sign of anyone inside, but we've got reports of strange activity around this area earlier today. Arson maybe, and there's something off about the way this one's burning. Could be connected to something bigger." Voight didn't need to hear more. His instincts were sharper than most people realized, and he was already making connections in his mind. His team had been investigating a series of fires linked to organized crime, a network that had been using the city's infrastructure for their own gain. And it was no coincidence. "Severide," Casey called, and in a flash, the lieutenant was beside him, assessing the situation. "Anything unusual?" Casey asked. "Yeah, it's burning differently," Severide confirmed. "Accelerants for sure. Whoever set this up knew what they were doing." Just then, Detective Atwater approached, his expression grim. "We've got a body, Casey, and it's not just anyone. This was personal." Matt's heart sank. He looked over at Voight, the weight of the moment settling between them. You're saying this was more than just a fire. It's a message, Voight replied, his gaze locking onto the flames. Someone's sending one, and I don't think they're done yet. As the hours wore on, Firehouse 51's team worked tirelessly to uncover the truth behind the blaze. Severide and Cruz teamed up to investigate the scene, carefully combing through the wreckage to gather evidence that would lead them to the truth. Meanwhile, Voight's team was back at the precinct, reviewing the connections they'd been tracking. By the time the sun started to rise, they knew they had to move fast. The body recovered was identified as one of the city's notorious arsonists, someone with connections deep in the criminal underworld, and when they connected it to a string of past fires, they realized this was no ordinary criminal. This was someone playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Back at the scene, Casey stood with Voight and Atwater, the tension thick in the air. "What's the next move?" Casey asked, his mind working overtime. "We go in," Voight said, his voice flat with resolve. "We track this down and make sure it doesn't escalate. This person's not just lighting fires, they're trying to burn everything to the ground." Severide approached, his face hardened with the weight of everything they'd just learned. "We can't let them get away with it." Voight nodded, his eyes narrowing. "We won't." The joint task force between Firehouse 51 and Chicago PD quickly mobilized, with both sides working in tandem to uncover the mastermind behind the recent string of fires. As the days went by, it became clear that the culprit was someone with intimate knowledge of both firefighting tactics and law enforcement strategies, someone who had been pulling the strings from behind the scenes for far too long. Atwater and Voight worked tirelessly to track down leads, interrogating witnesses and piecing together clues. Meanwhile, the Firehouse team ran their own investigation, hoping to get a step ahead of the arsonist before another fire was set. The pressure was mounting. Each new lead brought more questions than answers, and the clock was ticking. But when they finally tracked the criminal to an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city, it was all hands on deck. The entire Firehouse 51 team, along with Voight's squad, went in hot. There were no second chances, no room for mistakes. Inside, it was clear the arsonist had been setting up another fire, a trap. The team had to act quickly to prevent another catastrophe. Casey and Voight led the charge, with Severide and Cruz handling the fire suppression side of things. The situation was volatile, with the building on the verge of collapse, but they managed to subdue the criminal just in time. As the suspect was taken into custody, Voight shared a look with Casey. There was no doubt about it. This case had brought their worlds together in ways they hadn't expected, but it was one that would stay with them for a long time. As the fire burned out and the dust settled, both teams stood side by side, knowing they'd just prevented a disaster that could have changed the city forever. But in Chicago, there was always another fire to fight, another case to crack, and another battle to face. And they'd be ready for it. This crossover episode not only showcases the intense teamwork between the Firehouse 51 crew and Chicago PD, but it also highlights how both teams handle high-stakes situations, no matter the danger. Whether it's firefighting or criminal investigations, their bonds are unbreakable, and together, they ensure that justice and safety prevail.